Good evening and welcome to Off the Lip, the show about surfing and skateboarding. If you'd like to join the show tonight, give us a call at 831-479-1080. That's 831-479-1080. And now, here are your hosts for tonight's program, Neil Pearlberth and Terry Campion.
Good evening and welcome to the Off the Lip radio show, broadcasting right here from Santa Cruz, California. Joined with my co-host, Mr. Terry Campion, for our 178th show. And in studio tonight, we are very honored to have one of the world's most elite surfers in Santa Cruz's own, Mr. Shawn Dollar. And I encourage you to listen because he's got a very incredible tale to tell. And we're just lucky, and we're just lucky to have him here in the studio. We're still thankful after what happened last year that he's able to join us and talk about his experience surfing and his future career surfing, and we want to talk to him about that. And if you want to listen to the show, it's on KSCO AM 1080, FM 104.1, and you can live stream it right now on SantaCruzWaves.com. TC is doing his absolute magic production on the live stream.
It's like I play the piano over here.
But before we start, real quickly, this portion of the show is brought to you very, very important. A farm-to-table dinner put on for the American Red Cross. This is for the firefighters of the Sobranos Fire, which is happening on November 4th, 2006 at Carmel Valley Ranch. It's a very, very important dinner to raise money for the Red Cross, which need all your help right now due to what's been going on down there in Big Sur. For more information, go to redcross.org/farm-to-table 2016.
Is that the same fire that's down at Nacimiento and Hearst Castle? Is that the same?
No, I don't think
Is that a different fire?
That's a different fire. This one's the one's been going on in Big Sur for weeks.
Well, I just saw footage of that Nacimiento fire down at the reservoir. The whole reservoir's on fire.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Terrible. You see there's a lack of firemen right now, too, they're saying.
Okay, we need firemen.
Yep. Bless those guys' hearts, man.
They're working their asses off.
That's one scary job.
Yeah.
I mean, if anybody deserves a round of applause,
They do.
They're trying to save people's houses they don't even know.
Another person that deserves a round of applause is your wife, Lorna Campion. It's her birthday today.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Happy birthday to Lorna.
Yeah, no,
What do you got planned? A little hot tub?
yeah,
baby.
I'm not in the doghouse right now.
You got,
hot
tub tonight, TZ?
Yeah, no, I think we might go explore the hot tub. It's low tide tonight at the hot tub, so it should be exciting.
Okay, we got to talk to Shawn.
Yeah. Well, I mean, where do we go? How about let's go. I think we should start. I think most of the people listening know about your injury last year, and we can start with that. But we should give a little history about Shawn Dollar, world record holder. I mean, he's filled his checkbook from surfing the largest waves in the world. I think the accolades from his fellow surfers speak for themselves.
Yep.
You've been awarded numerous times for your ability in big wave surfing, and then we have an accident that sort of changed your life, and I think that's what is the main story about tonight is you're bouncing back.
It's about others. He's an inspiration. He's an inspiration.
Absolutely.
And what others who may be going through the same thing can look and go, you know what? If Shawn can do it, I can do it.
Well, in any industry, in any sport.
And hey, we just talked about something that we share. I'm not going to share on the radio, but we share something in common. And hey, we're here today, you know. And you just keep putting one foot in front of the other and doing the best you can, and you're loving your kids. So when was it you broke your neck? Was just going to say you broke your neck last year. What was the date of that?
Yeah, it's September 9th. It's Labor Day, so
Okay.
it's coming up.
1 year.
1 year.
25-foot waves somewhere in the Monterey Bay, somewhere around.
Yeah, the waves were pretty big, but it was more just like it was middle summer, and we were just prepping and getting ready for the big wave season, which you don't get much of a chance in here unless you hop on a plane. And so I was just surfing and found myself in front of some rocks and in a really bad situation.
You knew right away after you hit your head that it was bad?
Yeah, I mean, I heard my neck break like a chandelier. It was just
audibly, you heard it in your ears.
Yeah. And so it was like, damn, it wasn't just like crack. It was a
like glass cracking.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah.
And in hindsight, because I know when it happened, you actually got yourself with some help from some friends in the car and drove to the hospital.
Yeah, I did not drive, but we did. I got out of there with some help with some friends, which I was really thankful for, and they drove me to the hospital.
And was that the best decision at the time, or should you have waited for medical help?
After kind of like, it's everything you're not supposed to do, but I was getting beat against rocks and some pretty big surf, and I had to like fight for my life at that point and swim and get on my board and do whatever I needed to do to get out of there so I didn't drown. And so at that point, it was like, okay, I functioned on a pretty high level and did everything I wasn't supposed to do. Like I was in a remote location. I can get out of here, on my own while I still have some adrenaline, and I'm going to just get out of here because we didn't have cell phone reception. We didn't have anything. So it was just time to go. And, I got to the hospital much faster. And I was at least close to home too. I mean, I kind of knew what the outcome was going to be, so I wanted to be able to, go to a
hospital nearby.
Yeah, because I mean, I had a 6-month-old baby at home, and my wife, and our boy was 4.5, so it was like,
you had to get home.
I had to get close. You
wanted to be
at that
near.
point.
Yeah.
It was like I'd been through so much at that point. It'd be like, what's another little bit of a car ride to get close.
From the moment that you got hurt, how long did it take you to get to dry land, get your body out of the water? Or do you even remember that?
It was a while. It took probably like 5 to 10 minutes.
For you to get out of the water?
Yeah.
And during that time, what's going through your head?
Originally I was trying to stay still and keep myself isolated so I wasn't moving. Because, I knew I'd broken my neck, and I figured at that point that, okay, all my big wave training was like, stay still, don't move, stay calm. And so I was doing that, but I was getting recycled into rocks, and I was in a really, really bad situation. And so I wasn't going through the rocks. I wasn't going around the rocks. I was going out and back in, out and back in. So I had to get on my board and try to paddle out of the situation, but I kept, getting the crap beat out of me.
Back in.
And then having to jump off my board, climb back on my board, and it hurt. It hurt. It was like absolutely so painful and took a really long time and was really difficult, but I made it to the beach.
And were the guys you were surfing with, did they realize that you were in a bad situation?
No.
They had no idea?
They didn't, no.
Yeah. Wow.
How much of your training I know you didn't train to go have a broken neck, but how much of your training helped you in that situation?
Honestly, quite a bit, but yet it was more like a mental aspect.
Right.
I mean, something happened when I hit my head and started breaking, my neck started breaking, I fought that break, meaning I didn't relax. I didn't let it go. My neck muscles held all they could to keep me from flexing further, which saved my spinal column from snapping.
Right.
But I mean, in that quick split second of a moment, time literally stood still, and I remember listening to my neck break.
And you were riding a bigger board too, right?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't on a short
7-footer. What are you riding?
Yeah, something like that.
And so, how you can't really? You're
couldn't
duck diving.
so I just jumped. I just bailed off my board, and there was a
a
rock sticking up that was out of view and cracked it right in the top of my head.
And then then you're trying to get out of the water, and waves are continuing to hit you, and you can't duck dive, and that's where your neck is tense and keeping your head centered on your shoulders.
Yeah, but I mean, looking back, when I hit that rock at that moment and my neck was breaking, I just remembered thinking don't let it go all the way, and just fought it, and was able to keep my neck somewhat intact, that I didn't break my spinal column.
Did you kick it into a gear that you didn't even know you even had? Do you think?
Yeah.
Of mental, not just the training. You've had the training, but you've mental strength of some kind of gear that you didn't even know your vehicle had.
Yeah, I mean, I've never been in that much pain, never been faced with such a challenge, and didn't have anybody at the moment that could help me. So it was a pretty horrible time. I mean,
Well, and
through a
who
lot.
who do we know that's been through this?
I don't know.
As well. It's like it's we see fin cuts. We see some
see that
torn
now.
ligaments, but the extent of your injury, you're one of the few people I know that's ever even gone through this.
But I think also the situation of, broken neck, but concussions is something that hasn't been discussed in surfing at all.
Well, it's been
been
discussed in all sports
Well,
right
in
now.
our sport, but it hasn't. I don't remember seeing an article written about or a show or anything about
No. Most of our
concussions in surfing.
Most of our head injuries are abrasion type injuries,
Right.
hitting the reef, maybe getting a fin cut. Quite frankly, we were talking about this before the show. Who even knows how many concussions they have? We've all been hit in the head growing up, and how many times did one of those head injuries actually cause damage?
Right.
You said
Yeah.
growing up you had a lot of injuries yourself. Plus, and we can talk about this maybe after the break, about how many injuries you think you've had surfing at Mavericks.
Yeah. It's a lot.
Which doctor do you have to thank?
We're gonna do that right now. I got
Right
my
now.
list.
Huh?
Okay, I got my
He's
list.
got the
That's
list.
my
You
notes.
good? He's got.
I'm
He brought
serious.
notes.
Yeah, I know. We have nothing.
Nothing. We never
the
do
man's
notes.
The guy's got notes. Good for him.
Well, okay.
Yeah, you might as
I'll
well. If
give
you
a couple
do it,
shout outs here. I want
Yeah,
to
give some shout-outs.
Dr. Amen from the Amen Clinics. That's where this journey really started for me of getting better with concussions. Dr. Carver and Dr. Kira Harahar, they're both neurosurgeons here out of the Monterey Bay. They both immediately started working with me and making sure that I was diagnosed correctly, and they were both amazing. They both took a lot of extra time.
Right.
Appreciate that. And then Dr. Cook and Dr. Scher, both Bay Area doctors that worked with me with hyperbarics and directly helped me get out of my concussion.
And that's a really interesting subject. I never even knew that a hyperbaric chamber could be used for concussions until you went through this. And,
Yeah.
maybe explain to me how that machine can help concussions.
So, so what it does is to first explain what a concussion is, it's as simple as understanding is it's a wound to the brain. And what that means is like there's dead matter in your brain and there's blood and there's fluid in there and swelling that needs to leave, just like getting a cut or a bruise anywhere else in the body. The problem with the human body, which is a good thing and a bad thing, but in a concussion it's a bad thing, is our blood-brain barrier and the way our body's set up is to protect our brain. So it's very, very difficult for fluid to get into the brain, which is our defense mechanism as humans. But when you have a brain injury, it's hard for that fluid to get out, and it's hard for enough blood to get in there to heal. So long story short was after 4 months post-injury, we did some brain scans, and it showed that I had severe damage to the brain, and my blood, there wasn't enough blood and oxygen getting to my brain still. So hyperbaric oxygen therapy compresses your blood cells. You get into a tube that goes, is originally made for the bends.
Right.
It pushes you to about the depth of like 10 to 12 feet of water, that amount of pressure. It's very comfortable in there. And then
Like an
you're breathing.
MRI machine.
No,
but
it's a
isn't it?
tube.
It's
That's a
it's
tube? Okay.
pressurized.
It's
yeah.
a tube. It's a
Yeah.
closed tube. Goes in there. You're pressurized. You're breathing pure oxygen. But what it does is it pushes blood and oxygen through the blood-brain barrier into the brain, and it literally gives your brain finally fresh oxygen.
Can you
and
notice the
blood.
difference
Yeah,
being in the machine and leaving?
I noticed the difference the first time I walked out
Really?
of there. And it was like, wow, I can actually kind of think again. Like
Wow.
I can feel myself again. I was in just such a fog. Like concussions are extremely difficult to explain to others what's going on,
Right.
but I wasn't myself, and I knew it, and I was seeking help. But leaving the first time out of the tube was like, wow, okay,
I got an answer.
I'm going to be able to get better.
Is
Yeah.
that common now for concussion recovery to do the chamber like that?
Not really. And the main reason is the fact that insurance doesn't
cover it.
recognize it. So when you have a concussion, and honestly, not enough people know about this. And,
Yeah.
To be totally honest, in my situation, I was working with 2 different neurosurgeons, and neither one of them knew about hyperbaric oxygen therapy or recommended that.
Right.
It was something that I found through other means. So, you know, a lot of people with concussions aren't being properly diagnosed. And then secondly, like, our medical system doesn't send you to go do hyperbaric oxygen therapy.
Right.
You have to go seek and do that yourself.
Well, I think it's interesting because maybe if you can throw your 2 cents in this, but if you didn't break your neck, would they have known your concussion was as severe as it was? Or would they have said, hey, take 2 pills and go home and call me in the morning if you just had the concussion?
Um,
Because they probably checked everything.
Well,
you know, you had a broken neck. You had
You've been feeling yourself slow down for the last couple of years. Correct?
Yeah,
A
I
little
knew
bit.
that my concussions were adding up, but you know, honestly, I was with my doctors for the first 4 months of my accident, telling them I'm severely concussed. I don't feel that good, and they were just telling me that I just needed rest.
Right.
And so I wasn't. It's like typical concussion symptoms or typical concussion treatment is you need to just go rest, spend less time on electronics.
Right.
You're going to get better in like a year or two.
Right.
And that's not the right way to deal with this.
Okay, we'll come back and talk more with Shawn Dollar after this very short break. Before we go to the break, though, this portion show is brought to you by the Beach Guy. Mr. and Mrs. Beach Guy have a great new ocean front property for sale, TC, at 2868 South Palisades at Soquel Point. Great views of rock views, sewers, First Peak. Call Steve-O at 425-SAND. That's 425-7263. The Beach, Mr. and Mrs. Beach Guy have been supporting this show since day one.
Right?
We want to thank you. We love them for it.
Yeah.
Also, this portion show is brought to you by Jeff Winterholder, TC, at North Bay Ford. Saw Jeff today. He's doing very well.
I texted him a couple times today. Yeah, no, I love my van I bought from them.
If you you want a new Ford, go see Jeff Winterholder right there at North Bay Ford. Neil, TC, and we're very thankful that Shawn Dollar's in the house with us tonight. Be right back.
Hey, Dave here from Kayak Connection. Looking for a fun family activity on the water? We've got the perfect venues and equipment that's just right for kids and novices. And for the experienced paddler out there, we've got the cutting-edge gear. With both paddleboard and kayak rentals, tours, lessons, and retail in the Santa Cruz Harbor and Moss Landing's famed Elkhorn Slough, you can't go wrong with Kayak Connection. Maybe take a romantic starlight tour with us in the Elkhorn Slough and be amazed as the water beneath you glows with each paddle stroke. Or a wildlife tour in Santa Cruz where you'll see otters, seals, and maybe even a humpback whale. An experience of a lifetime, I guarantee it. Come experience for yourself, or with friends and family, the paradise of Monterey Bay's phenomenal marine life. Visit us today on Facebook or kayakconnection.com, or call us at 831-479-1121.
Good morning, Santa Cruz. Hi, it's Julie from Toyota of Santa Cruz. And I understand that you guys are sick of my ad. Well, guess what? So am I. So they drug me down here to make a new one. And I'm supposed to tell you how great our dealership is. Why? Because it is. We're selling cars like crazy. New Tacoma, the 4Runner. We have over 500 new cars in stock. What else do you want me to tell them? How cute I look right now? We are the proud sponsors of Off the Lip. We've been their sponsors since day one. We appreciate all the business from the skateboard and surf community in Santa Cruz, and I am always here for you guys. Anytime you need something, just come to the dealership. Ask for me. I'm in the fish tank on the showroom. Can't miss me. I'll make sure you get a sweet deal. My name is Julie Frigoli, General Sales Manager at Toyota of Santa Cruz. Highway 1 at 41st Avenue in Capitola.
And we're back with the Off the Lip Radio Show right here on KSCO's portion show is brought to you by beginnerboards.com, safe and fun surfboards that give everyone the opportunity to have fun while surfing, with prices ranging from $40 to $650. You cannot beat the value at beginnerboards.com. For more info, call Brad Shelton at 521-8094 or go to beginnerboards.com. In studio right now, we have Mr. Shawn Dollar, who is, he's making his way back from hell and sitting in the chair talking to us about it. And, man, I got a lot of questions, TC, but what do you want to, it's a Shawn show, you know? Well, I want to see what he wants to talk about because it's a difficult subject to talk. It's a very difficult subject.
It brings up a lot of emotion, but I think like the reason I came on the show is I think that I've obviously had to learn a lot, and I have a lot to share, and there's a lot of people out there that are have concussions or don't really kind of know where to go, or they have family that's had them. And so, just kind of wanted to give some talking points and kind of give some examples and let people know that, I mean, you've got to take these things seriously, and especially when there's a major concussion and the quality of life starts changing for that person. So, I mean, if people have questions like that, I'd love to help answer them.
Well, it's interesting because concussions are injuries you don't see. Like if you have a bone sticking out,
right?
It's like it's an injury you don't see. So your family life, maybe your wife notices a difference in your behavior.
She noticed it. I mean, I was, after 4 months, was still really messed up. Massive depression. I got suicidal. I got everything. Like I was.
You couldn't get out of bed?
Well, my migraines were so bad. That,
yeah.
That would stop. Other things. It was just like, it was the fact that I couldn't control my mind anymore. I couldn't control my emotions. I was so all over the place. And you look at like a guy like, for example, Dave Mira wasn't too long ago that he killed himself and then was diagnosed with CTE with autopsy. But you look at an athlete like that that's hit his head over and over and over.
Right.
And everyone in his life is like, he looked great, I never saw this coming. It's like, I was right there with him. Like I finally got help and was able to get stability in my life. But I was emotionally out of control, and I was doing everything I could to just try to hang in there for my family. And and everybody's like, I'd go take a walk, and people are like, "You look great," and I'd be like, like, yeah, I do, but like my brain was a wreck, like, and I was not functioning, and so it's like, and I was kind of begging my doctors for help too, and they didn't know what to do with me because that's not, concussions are still being discovered and understood, and there wasn't a lot of help.
There's a lot of fear with them right now, though. There's like people are scared of concussions.
And you were talking, TC, about the people who go to just any big wave surf spot. We'll take the one in our back door at Mavericks. Now that surf spot has, it says good waves that day. There's 70 to 80 people out there.
Oh, for sure.
And not one of them is going out there patting the board going, hey, I better watch out for a concussion.
Well, we've been talking about this for years, and I've been talking about it for years. I've been around long enough to know when there was days it was good and uncrowded. Well, those days are gone, and there's going to be people that are going to take off on waves that really shouldn't be ridden. And that's because they're impatient, and they want a wave. They want to go tell their friends they caught a wave at Mavericks. And I think that the collection of concussion injuries are going to be greater in the future based on that alone. Do people even know how bad their concussions are? That's my point with you, Shawn. Is like,
don't know. Like,
I mean, you knew you'd been banging your head through the course of your life, but it took this major injury.
People kind of thought that as I started thinking that this was a concussion, not just from the rock, but before. I mean, I had so many concussions out at Mavericks, walking concussions. I was never knocked unconscious, but I could feel them starting to catch up on me, and I was trying to talk with people about it, and everyone was kind of like, yeah, I don't think that's really a thing that you're going through, And what was interesting is, I went to the Amen Clinic up in San Francisco. They've got a couple throughout the United States, but they did a brain scan using a radioactive isotope that when you get into the scan, it shows where blood is traveling in your brain. So after reviewing that, it showed the diagnosis was basically like I had parts all over my brain that were no longer active, that were essentially dead. And it was top, bottom, left, and right. So it was like severe bouncing of my brain in my head from my skull. And you could see in the picture, and it was amazing to me. It was finally like, okay, everybody that doesn't understand what I'm going through, like, here's a picture. There's holes in my brain now. Like, I am not myself because I can't be myself. Like, there is huge holes in my brain, Like, imagine having holes in your brain.
Like Swiss cheese?
Yeah, it was like Swiss cheese. And it was like, it was scary for me, but it was finally like, I was so scared at that point, it didn't matter. It was finally like, okay, I'm finally getting diagnosed,
Right.
I was going to say. So you wanted to know, Right.
I needed to know.
You needed to know.
Because I needed help. Like, I mean, you don't deal with a problem by ignoring it.
Right.
You have to
Face it.
You have to face it and understand it. And it helped my wife. It helped my family. And it then became where, okay, we know what we have. If you have a broken arm and you don't go get an X-ray and you just kind of ignore it,
it's going to be
never,
broken.
Yeah, and it's never going to heal right.
Right.
So it was like, I was tired of being kicked around and undiagnosed. So,
Well, and when you saw that picture, you probably said, okay, I'm starting over.
yeah, it was like, and the thing is with the brain is it can heal, and there's ways of healing it. And so working with the Amen Clinic, that's what they do, whether it's brain damage from drug use or alcoholism or just birth defects or, you know, I mean, our brains are constantly in kind of a state of decay from our lifestyle and what else we're doing, but it doesn't have to be. So their whole thing is, you want a better brain, we'll help you get a better brain. And there's many different ways of doing it, but in a concussion state, which I was, hyperbaric oxygen therapy is the main and best tool for that. As long as, I mean, I've changed my diet, I take a massive amount of supplements and fish oils, and I mean, all this stuff matters. It really is like, at that point for me in my life now, it's become like a whole puzzle that I've had to solve.
Right.
And I'm still extremely fragile, and I have to be very, very rigorous about how I take care of myself.
Let me ask you this. You know, when this foyer, when we were outside before the show, you said that, you know, even Mavericks was like, you know, I'm kind of getting a little, it's becoming passe, and you're still looking for something that's bigger, higher, and greater. Now you can't do that anymore. What are you replacing that with? I know you have a kindergarten, but what do you think you can replace that with? Because that's part of your brain too.
It is. I'm not looking to replace it, honestly, because that's not a healthy choice.
Okay.
You know, I was definitely addicted to the adrenaline, and I definitely enjoyed it. But after everything I've been through, like literally, I was getting flatlined with adrenaline. Like, it wasn't, paddling into big waves at Mavericks was not the same anymore. Didn't matter how big the wave was. I mean, something happened when I set that first world record at Mavericks, that literally something happened. Like, there was a chemical change in my body there for it. Nothing really felt the same. And I was still going through it. I still loved surfing big waves. And then I caught a bigger wave at Cortez, and that wave was like the pinnacle of fear, the pinnacle of everything that I've been through. And to ride that and make it, that I then crushed my all thoughts of adrenaline from that point going forward. That literally, I remember like the first time I pulled up to Mavericks and watched it break, I was like, this is like nothing.
You said you said the word fear there when you said the Cortez wave, the Cortez bank wave. Was the fear different to the fear you felt when you broke your neck that time when you're getting washed in and out? Was it a different fear?
Yeah, because the fear when I broke my neck was vulnerability.
Okay.
That's a different fear.
Right.
It's a fear of, you know, Cortez was, that fear was, I'm going to face it, I'm going to beat it, and I'm going to challenge it.
Yeah.
The choices were already made when I broke my neck.
Okay.
It was surviving at that point.
Okay. TC, you want a question?
Well, I just think and I keep coming back to it, but you know, like we have a lot of friends who surf Mavericks a lot, and I wonder, you know, there may be some of them are listening now, like, have they had their brains scanned? You know, and
No,
are they vulnerable? You know,
So-
are you know, like how many can they collect?
So I'll try to give some facts to what's going on out there. Is it seems reasonable, right? But it seems a little bit like maybe it's speculation. So, you know, number one is when Mavericks breaks and it's big, it's shaking the Richter scale up at Berkeley.
Right.
Like, it is causing
An
massive
earthquake.
amounts of movement.
Right.
That is being felt really far away.
Right.
So you can imagine what
It's doing to your brain.
a brain would be doing, bouncing around in that type of velocity and that type of impact. So that's, you know, I mean, we haven't hooked up a brain and sent it into Maverick's bowl, but there's enough force there that's crazy that something has to be happening. Number two, when I went to the Amen Clinic and we started doing scans, it wasn't that you have all this damage from that accident. It was you have all this damage from many, many, many concussions.
Right.
Where my brain looks like I played professional football, but not just that. I played high school and then I played college football. So it was a constant beating of the brain. So it wasn't just like 1 or 2, 3, 4 concussions. It was, a lot of major concussions, but a lot of like tons and tons of low level ones. So it just kind of like for me, it was a wake up call, Yeah. I'm at the point where I can't go back and go surf Mavericks anymore because I can't physically take another concussion to my brain like that.
Your well of concussions is flooded.
Yeah, but my friends that surf out there, I'm not saying to stop. And people that play football, I'm not saying to stop or something like that. It's just being aware of what's going on and how you feel is really important. And when you are concussed, it's really important to take it seriously.
Did what happened to you make others did what happened to you make others aware? Do you think, or they just, hey, Shawn, hey, you look good,
honestly,
man. You feel
I've honestly been pretty isolated.
Yeah.
This has been a really, really challenging injury. From physical to mentally. It's taken a lot to get to where I am.
Yeah.
And you've been asking me to come on this show for a long time. I didn't want to go talk about it yet.
No, I don't blame you.
So, I haven't really talked about this too much, but secondly, it's probably pretty taboo. And there's just not a lot of information out there. So, I don't think that this is going to necessarily change anything or anybody's going to stop. I think maybe my friends like Skinny and some of these other guys might, and Nick and the rest of them might think twice about going on a closeout, because at the end of the day, it's like you want to be making your waves.
I think of Tazzy. Tazzy's had some dramatic.
But as TC said, all you got to do from being in that shed tonight is affect one person's decision the right way.
Right.
And then it's worth you being in that chair.
I wanted to give props to your employer.
Yeah, can we come back and talk about that after the
break? I think that'd be great.
Okay, really quickly, TC, I just want to let you know that today I did go have the ciabatta chicken sandwich, Surf City sandwich. The chicken parmigiana with fried chicken thigh was with marinara.
Sounds very very low calorie.
It was everywhere, dude. It was
you guys
everywhere.
Are off your diet competition?
We're on it constantly. And this portion show is brought to you by the Britannia Arms, located in the heart of Capitola. Enjoy the feel of traditional English pub and grub as you pull up to a table either inside or on the dog-friendly patio. They're open 7 days a week. They serve a great English breakfast. Oh, I had a great English breakfast that Sunday after I surfed. Man, it was good. You guys would have hated it.
I was going to say, there's a great English breakfast.
Great English breakfast. I'm telling you, it was so good. Looking for a fun, unique place to go? Then pop down to Britannia Arms right there in Capitola. This is Neil and TC here with Shawn Dollar. We'll be right back after this very short break. Don't go away.
This is Brother Timmy.
And Cleo from Cleo's Corner at Punta Hawaiian Grill.
Featuring wraps, teriyaki bowls, plate lunches, amazing and creative salads, vegetarian and gluten-free options, and over 20 different types of poke, all made to order, fast, fresh, and healthy. And what's your favorite, Khalil?
The chicken fingers.
Located at 120 Union Street in downtown Santa Cruz. Call us for takeout at 831-426-PONO or check us out on the web at PonoHawaiianGrill.com. We put the Ono in Pono. Yee-hoo.
Attention surfers and paddleboarders. Don't let cold water or cold air take you out of the water for 5 to 6 weeks. Protect your ear canals with custom-made earplugs. The Listening Stack in Capitola is now offering custom earplugs molded to fit your ears perfectly, comfortably protecting your ear canals from the harsh elements of the Pacific Ocean. Stop messing with universal earplugs that don't work and try something that does. Mention Off the Lip Radio and receive an extra $20 off any custom molded earplugs in our store. The Listening Stack is located at the corner of Capitola Avenue at 41st. The Listening Stack. Protect, enhance, enjoy. 831-498-9890.
We are back with the Off the Lip Radio Show right here on KSC. I want to announce our Christmas bash.
Big news break right here.
December 2nd at the Santa Cruz Boardroom.
Extra large is
Extra
playing?
large is playing. It's a
Wow.
$10 to get into the Santa Cruz boardroom. $10. Our guest of honor is going to be Shawn Dollar. I think he's going to be the guest of honor for that event.
Yeah, guest of honor.
Raising money for
kids.
Kids.
Yeah, we're gonna do a kids.
Kids.
Couple of kid charities that night. We're gonna do for $10. You get dinner.
Yeah.
My amazing tacos
Yep.
for $10, and you'll get a beer coupon for
extra large playing, and they don't know it yet.
Well, and
but Gary Irving,
Yep.
Jimbo Phillips, and Vince Broglio are going to come there and display their art.
Yes, they are. They don't know that yet, but they will soon. The other cool thing is we're gonna have a huge raffle, and a lot of businesses and organizations are going to donate, and again, every penny will go to charity, and that's our Christmas community event, December 2nd.
And this portion of the show is brought to you by Pure Power Yoga on 41st. I was there this morning.
Good work.
Yep, doing my chaturangas.
Working on that 12-pack.
Yeah, that's going to be a while. Check out Pure Power Yoga on 41st Avenue, surrounded by great people, great teachers, great energy, great to sweat. Check them out at purepoweryoga.net. In studio today, we have Shawn Dollar, who is... it's been a fascinating show. You should talk about it for hours, but
there's a lot to talk about in this.
Yeah.
Seriously,
your question was, you represent Reef. You're employed by Reef. You've been with that company for a long time.
Yeah.
How have they been? Behind you?
Yeah, they've been awesome. They let me take about 4 months off, and they, and Bud Freitas, by the way, too, who also works for Reef, came in and took over my job and helped me along while I was injured. And I mean, they were extremely supportive and, encouraged me to take the time off that I needed because I couldn't work at that point.
Right.
And my job was still there when I was ready to get back to it. So,
that's it. Well, again, you said this. What happened to you is not only a physical thing, but it's a mental game. And talk about having a mental screw up, as if you can't work and you're trying to support a family, and you're worrying about even being able to keep your job.
Right. Yeah.
And so double whammy on that.
Yeah,
and the fact, because let's all be honest, that's a big part of life, being able to support your family. For them to stick behind you and say, hey, take 4 months off and heal, shows a lot for a company.
Yeah.
So I've thought about this. Your kids and your wife, when you're in that water, and you're going through what you're going through, where were they in your mind? Were they at the forefront of that gear you kicked it into? Were they right there in the front of your mind?
Yeah, it was.
And then the journey to the hospital. You knew you were going to see them again.
Yeah, when I got to the hospital, I knew I was going to see them again, but it was survival. Like, I wanted to be there to see my kids again. It was like, this is not happening now. This is not the way it's going to go. And I wanted to. My kids mean everything to me. My wife means everything to me, and it was like when accidents happen, you never see them coming.
Right.
And I didn't see that coming. But man, I was gonna get to the top. I was gonna get out of there, and I was gonna get to the hospital. I was gonna get home to be with my family. Like, it was. This is not it. This is not the way it was going to go. And I just want to give a big thank you to my wife for having so much support and patience with me. I mean, this has been one hell of a year for her.
Well, it's we could talk about this in like a sort of a U.S. military type aspect. It's basically like you went to war and you came home and you were different.
Yeah.
It doesn't work out for a lot of people.
Well, I'm going to compare him for a second to somebody else that was recently on the show here whose life taken a different path, and that's Brian Stowe. Brian was a healthy young man who was a paramedic, right? And look what happened to him. Yeah. And now, not in as bad shape as he is, but now he's taking this path where he's going to all these Bay Area schools and talking about bullying.
That's awesome.
In the condition that he's in, do you think that you could, was something you would want people? We've learned. TC and I've learned something tonight. I didn't know what you did. They got in that chamber and it make you feel better. It was something you can go out and talk about with other people.
Yeah, I do think that that's going to be definitely part of my life going forward. I don't know how much,
Right.
I don't think that's going to be a full-time job or anything. But I got to say, Operation Surf called me. I'm going to be down volunteering in San Luis Obispo with them for a week.
Well,
working
exactly
with the vets,
kind of what I was
and
saying.
It's
right.
Perfect because
Yeah.
those guys are coming back with brain damage. Those guys have seen horrible things and are trying to adapt back to life and to try to get back on their feet. And, you know, I wasn't fighting in war or anything like that, but in some ways, like, my physical injury was similar to some of the stuff they're going through with brain damage. And so it'll be good to kind of spend some time with them and, you know, hopefully give them some inspiration to, like, hang in there, because when you have a brain injury, you deal with lots of depression, and, you know, suicide seems like that's definitely an option when you literally can't do anything about it because you got so much damage to your brain.
When you had those suicidal thoughts, what did you do? What was did you talk to your wife about it, or did you just hang on?
Yeah, people just don't really mainly know how to deal with you, you know?
Yeah.
So it became more like, okay, think about the kids, think about the family, try to go on a walk, try to just get through this point,
right,
and find something good to hang on to, which were the kids. But it was like, the whole time I was like, I couldn't do it because my kids need me.
Right.
You know, I had families. I knew kids that their parents had committed suicide growing up, and it changed their life forever. But I was really strong mentally before that. Did a lot of meditation. I mean, those things I've done didn't come from just by chance. Like, they came from, like, a strong mental will, and to, like, have lost that was the hardest part of this whole injury, because when you break your arm, you literally can think positive. My arm's going to get better, and you could feed that and heal yourself partially by your thoughts, you know, like, by staying positive. I'm going to take care of myself. I'm going to get better. But in my situation, like, I couldn't literally have those thoughts.
Well, it's because it's your brain. If you imagine a healthy brain creates healthy thoughts.
Do you have to take care of yourself today and your brain today in order to be able to be around 60, 65?
Yeah,
right?
I do. I'm trying to reverse as much damage as I can. So, you know, when I'm 60, 70 years old, I'll still be functioning and living. I mean, you know, there's so many examples of guys professional football players that literally just life gets harder and harder and worse with those brain injuries. So I don't know where I'll be, but I really hope I'm not there, and I'm going to do everything I can to take care of myself so I'm not.
Well, I see that you're back surfing. You see your social media. You're just happy to paddle and catch a wave.
Surfing.
It's like being a kid again, right?
A bit, yeah. I mean, it's
back to Cal's.
Yeah, I mean, you're back to square one.
Yeah, I mean, I always loved surfing small waves, but surfing's been my passion and my joy. And to go out, and if I could surf Pleasure Point for the rest of my life,
you're fine.
I'm fine. Yeah, it's great.
Right.
I mean,
take your wave storm out there and have a good time, right?
Take my wave storm out and burn all my friends and be stoked.
Right.
I wanted to ask you how your neck healed. I'm sure you've had a lot of follow-up because you broke your neck in this accident, and clear from the doctor, active?
Yeah, totally clear. Yeah, I got to be careful. You know, it's still really tight. It still hurts. I mean, still in a lot of pain, but yeah, it healed really well, and that was the easy part of this whole injury, to tell you the truth. I mean, it's the dramatic part. You broke your neck, but it was the easy part of this whole injury.
TC, we're going to break. This portion show is brought to you by Santa Cruz Mountain Brewing, who we hope to have at our Christmas bash.
Yes, we'll be tasting that beautiful beer.
Santa Cruz, and they may have one for sure. Maybe have a gluten-free Frosty. I don't know.
Well, you know, Chris drinks non-alcoholic beer.
I'm sure they have one of them.
They've
got all kinds of stuff. They got draft root beer. They got kombucha. There's something there to please everybody. That's Santa Cruz Mountain Brewing. They're located in the Swift Street Courtyard, 402 Ingalls Street in Santa Cruz. Go visit the tap room and beer garden for some good food and good beer. Also, a portion of the show is brought to you by Santa Cruz Armory. They carry top brands of firearms and accessories. On site, they have a gunsmith. You like this, TC. They can clean, repair, and restore your firearms. If you have firearm or ammunition at home that you're unsure of, give them a call, and they will come to you and put your mind at ease. If you don't know what the heck you got.
I love that.
Right? Everybody
that finds something should call them.
Santa Cruz Armory. They do not have the gun shop attitude. Give them a call at 706-7374 or go to santacruzarmory.com. Neil, TC, Mr. Shawn Dollar in the house. We'll be right back.
This is Numa and Isaac from Aloha Island Grill. Well, summer's right around the corner here in Santa Cruz, and that means one thing. It's time to come get your grind on at the Aloha Island Grill.
Come over to Aloha Island Grill and eat some food.
We're located on the corner of Portola and 17th Avenue, and we've got a beautiful lanai for you to come sit out on. We've got a fine assortment of plate lunch, fresh ahi poke, and other wonderful treats for you to enjoy.
My favorite food at Aloha Island Grill is Kalua Pig.
We've got ice-cold beer and wine for those hot summer days, and try some of our homemade POG, Passion Orange Guava Juice. It's delicious. For to-go orders, give us a call at 479-3299. Find us on the web at alohaislandgrill.com or come on down to 1700 Portola Drive. Aloha Island Grill is a proud member of Think Local First.
Hey, it's Fran from Steamer Lane Supply, a new snack stop located across the street from Steamer Lane in Lighthouse Field. Healthy and quick food, great organic coffee, house-made soft drinks, and surf essentials like wax, leashes, and sunblock are available to fuel your stoke. 5% discount if you're in your wetsuit, and there's even a menu just for dogs. Hours are Tuesday through Sunday, 7:30 to 7. Look for our food truck on the weekends, serving great fish tacos. And we're on Facebook and Instagram at Steamer Lane Supply. Hope to see you out there.
Chill Out Cafe on 41st Avenue, Santa Cruz is not just a block from some of the world's best surf, but it is also where you can go relax and order the tastiest grub before and after your sesh. Plump burritos, fresh salads, sky-high sandwiches, and a superb selection of hot and cold drinks. They have something for you. Go to chilloutcafesantacruz.com to view their menu, and to place your order to go, call 831-477-0543. Chill Out Cafe, where they roll the fatties.
Be aware of. We're back with the Off the Lip Radio Show right here on KSCO. We're here with our guest star tonight, Mr. Shawn Dollar. I'm just asking him if he has a website that maybe you can recommend that people can go to that has helped you in your recovery from a concussion. Is there something that you might have out there?
Yeah, there's a couple.
Okay.
Where my path really started getting on the right track with the concussion was the Amen Clinic.
How do you spell that?
AMEN.
Okay.
And I believe it's amenclinics.com.
Okay.
Dr. Amen is world renowned, and he's on PBS
San Francisco?
and all this stuff.
Yeah.
He's out of Southern California, I'm pretty sure, but he has a clinic up in Brisbane. But they will, whether you're dealing, all kinds with depression, everything, they have a wide range of things they can help you with. But yes, that is where I started my scans, understood what I was dealing with, worked with MDs out of there, and then we started going to hyperbaric oxygen therapy.
Right. And where was that? Is there information on that?
Yeah, there's one here in Los Gatos and their website is oxygenheals.com, and it's called Bay Area Hyperbarics, and they are awesome. It's a private clinic. Your insurance won't pay for hyperbaric oxygen therapy. It's out of pocket, but they have a really nice clinic with 4 chambers over in Los Gatos.
Okay.
And they're very friendly, and the truth of the matter, so if you have a concussion and you go, you're in trouble, like you're hurt, you have a bad concussion, if you go do hyperbaric oxygen therapy within like the first 3 days, they can reverse the symptoms typically within a couple treatments.
Isn't that interesting? But insurance won't do that because it's not a pill.
Well, that's a different show altogether right there.
Yeah,
but I mean, isn't that interesting though that insurance doesn't cover
but just
that?
to kind of give, not to be misleading, like the faster you do hyperbaric after a concussion, the faster you heal and the better you will be.
Right.
If you wait like years, it's just harder to heal. Your brain kind of sets in that state.
It seems to me, just from what you've learned and how it has helped you and how it can help people, they should have one in every hospital.
Are you still going to that?
Honestly, like in the last 2 months, I've been working too much with Reef. It's just our season, and it's been on, and I haven't had time to drive.
But if you feel you need to go, you're gonna go.
I'm supposed to do 20 more treatments. Okay. I've done 60 so far. I am at the high end of the spectrum of needing a lot of help, so I've done 60 treatments, and they want me to do more.
And what do you do? Just put on some headphones and hang out in there?
They actually play DVDs, and they've got a great DVD library, and I watch like every movie that I missed since I've had kids. So
How long are you in there for? How long are you in the chamber for?
An hour and a half.
Oh, so you're in there for a
You're
while.
in there for a while,
Okay.
but it's pretty enjoyable. I mean, you're relaxed.
Yeah.
You're under a blanket.
No
You got
phone.
a pillow. Yeah, and you're just watching movies.
And it's not uncomfortable.
Totally not uncomfortable.
So it's probably like, I mean, talk about a great treatment with such
Yeah.
great results.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
you're watching a movie, we're healing the brain.
I didn't mind doing it at all. And I also want to give one more shout out. I want to give a shout out to Griffin Guess, who was there for me with my accident and was a huge help to me. If he
was with
there,
you when it happened.
He was with me when it happened, and he's one of the guys that pulled me out of this situation and has been there.
And he put his life in his hands too to come to get you, probably. I would imagine.
He was. I mean, it was just a bad situation.
Right. Well done, Griffin.
Well, and he was cool under pressure. Is that what you're saying?
Very cool under pressure.
Right.
I'm
good.
Very lucky. He's one of those people you'd want by your side when stuff goes wrong.
Okay.
So.
Sean, we want to thank you for coming on the show.
Man, it's already over.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it went fast.
I know.
Thanks for having me,
Wish
guys.
Yoga win this for us.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Well,
thank you for coming on the show. We wish you the best of health, and you're always welcome to come back. If you got more notes, you want more to say, you're welcome to come back. And we know you're we're on your path to getting better, and we wish you all the very best.
It's an amazing story because it's something that's new for surfing, in my opinion. To have somebody like yourself to have an injury, and then to get the recovery and the way you're doing it, kind of an unorthodox way, and it's working.
Yeah. I got an article. I can see myself. I need to write an article about concussions and surfing. I can see that happening.
Well, whoever talks about concussions and surfing,
Nobody
ever. And
No.
should we be talking about it?
I know he is.
Well, you know what? We'll be talking about it more.
Okay, TC, you're in the hot tub at Lorna.
Yes, birthday
I'm
night.
popping up the street to Star Benny. Sean's probably going to go home. He's welcome to come to Star Benny if he wants. But Star Benny, they treat us great every week.
Love them.
I want to thank last week's guest, Renee Schlepfer from Twin Lakes Church. She was an awesome
He was
guest.
great. Dude, that show looks good on YouTube.
Great. And next week we have Wallace, the author from Blue Mind, Wallace J. Nichols coming on the show. That is going to be interesting too. So, once again, Sean, thank you so much for coming on. Take some time from the kids, coming down here and telling us. It's brave. Sitting in that chair is brave and telling us what you talked about.
Hey,
took a lot of courage, and we want to thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, good job. Thank you, Sean.
Chris, thanks very much, Chris. Thanks to all the KSCO family out there. We appreciate you letting us have the show. We'll see you next week with Blue Mind and Mr. Wallace J. Nichols. Good night.
From Capitola to Carmel, Red Hot News Talk, AM 1080 KSCO Santa Cruz.
Donald Trump's running mate